happening, guys? We are here. We are live. I am so sorry for the delay. You don't know what it is, man. You know what it is. If you're not aware, in the UK right now, it is election day. It's election day in the UK. I had to go and vote, and then it took me long to come back. But we're here. We're live, and we've got a little bit to talk about. Big up to everyone locked in. Be sure to hit the like button and be sure to subscribe. No football, no real transfers happen for United yet. But there's always something to talk about when it comes to Manchester United. So be sure to hit the like button, like I just said, and be sure to subscribe. Big up to everyone that's locked in. I hope you're all having a wonderful day. Let me know how your day's been, what you lot been up to, all of that kind of stuff. Like, just let me know what you've been up to, because me, I'm all right. I know you lot didn't ask, but I'm okay. I'm Gucci. I'm chilling, all of that kind of stuff. But like I said, it's election day here in the UK. So if you make sure you exercise your right. Make sure you guys exercise your right to vote. I'm not going to tell you who to vote for, but make sure you make a good decision. Polling stations close in about an hour and a bit. But like I said, there's no football on, but there is always something to talk about when it comes to Manchester United. Oh, every time I go live, people got something to people just won't leave me alone. Okay. Oh, sorry guys. I need to reply to an email quickly. Bam. I just need to press send because it was already there in my drafts. But you guys will now have my utmost attention. Yeah, you guys will have my utmost attention. Now, there you go. I put my phone away. That's it. We're here. We're live. I need to not look at my phone and give you 1 hour of minute time. If you've been living under a rock for the last 12 or so hours, Erik ten Hag, the way that they're packaging this story, I don't really like it, because technically it is an extension, because his 1-year extension has been triggered, but it's nothing different from what was already on the table for Erik ten Hag. So Ineos haven't really done nothing. I don't know, guys. Am I the only one that feels some suspicion about the way that all of this is being packaged? Obviously, I'm happy for Erik ten Hag to get fully backed, but this isn't really backing. This is just keeping him on the terms that he was already on, and essentially saying, you know what, we're going to let you have the 2 years that you're meant to have, the 1 year extra plus the 1 year original. But they haven't given him a new package. It's being packaged as Erik stays. I think that's what Manchester United posted on their account. They posted Erik stays, but it was his contractual obligation. He wasn't going anywhere. Let's talk about it anyway. Let's quickly go into it. Oh shit, I just got rid of I don't know why I always do this. Sometimes it's just like I'm not really that tech savvy, man. But guys, be sure to hit the like button, be sure to subscribe, because we're going to go into it. Because me, guys, I got a theory about this, and I genuinely feel like Erik ten Hag could be preparing us, or Manchester United and Ineos could be preparing us for life after Erik ten Hag in a way that they want it to be. I don't think this is on their terms. I don't think this is essentially what they've been trying to do, but it buys them time to implement everything else around the manager. And bringing Ruud van Nistelrooy in, for me, is their sleeper cell. I'm saying sleeper cell equivalent. I'm saying sleeper cell, but I feel like Ruud van Nistelrooy is their guy. Before we get into that, let's get into the details of the information that was provided to us today. So Manchester United have agreed for Erik ten Hag to, of course, continue and stay through his contract until June 2026. So Erik ten Hag essentially had 1 year left on his deal plus a 1 year option to pick up, and they've picked up that option. That's all it is. Is mentioned here by The Athletic, David Ornstein, and of course Manchester United announced it today. He continues on with his agreement, his contract, with the existing terms that were already part of his contract. Now, what are those existing terms? One of them is in reference, I think, with the one that is the topic of conversation all the time, veto. Veto, veto, veto. You know what is so funny, guys? When I think about things like veto, I think about United Nations meeting, I think about NATO meetings, I think about all them kind of stuff. I think when I hear the term veto, that's what I think of. But now we're putting it in football terms. Erik ten Hag had the right to veto transfers to an extent as the manager, and he retains those rights. Now, when it was announced that Erik ten Hag was gonna kind of stay on in this role, a lot of it was alluded to the idea that he will lose a lot of the rights that he had. But that does not seem to be the case. It now does seem, and I think Erik ten Hag will probably trust those in the roles above him, the Umar Baradas, the Dan Ashworths, Jason Wilcox, this new Christopher Vival guy coming in. I think he's going to trust them now more, where he doesn't probably feel like he has to utilize and trigger those vetoes or those rights that he has in his contract. Now, Erik ten Hag did speak to Manchester United media, obviously, afterward, and said that I am very pleased to have reached the agreement with the club to continue working together. Looking back at the last 2 years, we can reflect with pride on 2 trophies and many examples from where we were when I first joined. However, we must be clear that there is still lots of hard work to reach the levels expected of Manchester United, which means challenging for English and European titles. He went on to say, in my discussions with the club, we have found complete unity in our vision for reaching those goals, and we are strongly committed to making that journey together. Now, that's why I said I genuinely feel like now he feels like he's in a place where he can just focus on managing, focusing on coaching, and not be so heavily involved in other things outside of the football pitch. Now, what is that? Things like transfers, things like contract negotiations, things like discipline. Now there are people in place to deal with all of these stuff, and he can just simply go on and focus on coaching the team and making the team as competitive as possible. And he probably does also trust the instincts of the recruitment staff, etc., etc. Now, obviously, Dan Ashworth has come into the role, and he also spoke to Manchester United media about this in his new sporting director role. He went on to speak about Ten Hag's contract renewal. I don't know why they're calling it a renewal. It is not a renewal. If you really look at the details of it, and that's not me criticizing Erik ten Hag, by the way. I'm just criticizing the way that this is all being packaged to be, as if they've made a decision and they fully have invested in Erik ten Hag. They have invested in Erik ten Hag, by the way, to an extent where they've triggered his 1-year option, but it's not like they've given him a 4-year deal. If you're saying contract renewal, what exactly has been renewed if this was the contract that was already on the table? A contract renewal kind of suggests that it's a new contract with new terms, new duration, or his contract was finishing and he got a renewal. That's what I don't understand. This is not a renewal of that contract. And maybe I'm just being very picky with the terminology that's being used, just because I feel like it's being packaged to make it seem like if things go wrong under Erik ten Hag, Ineos can turn around and be like, we supported him, we backed him, we gave him a contract renewal. That's not what you've done. You're going off of what was given by the previous regime, and you've essentially just given him those 2 years that he was already contractually obligated to have. You've just given that to him. It's not like you've given him a lifeline by giving him 4 years. But anyways, Dan Ashworth went on to say, with 2 trophies in the 2 past seasons, Erik has reinforced his record as one of the most consistently successful coaches. Imagine that, consistently successful coaches in European football. While the club's review of last season highlighted areas for improvement, it also reached a clear conclusion that Erik was the best partner for us to work with in driving up the standards and the outcomes. This group of players and staff have already shown they are capable of competing and winning at the top level. We just need to do it consistently. Now, as reported as well, by the way, by The Athletic, it is expected that Benny McCarthy will leave the team. It's also suggested that Mitchell van der Gaag, his second in charge, will also depart the team. Steve McLaren and Darren Fletcher are confirmed to be staying on at the club as part of Erik ten Hag's staff. Just whether they stay in the same role or it's a switched up role, there's no information surrounding that. And as a result of the departures of Mitchell van der Gaag and Benny McCarthy, Rene Hack and Ruud van Nistelrooy will join Erik ten Hag's coaching team. Now, of course, between the two of them, between the three of them, they've all got quite a bit of experience coaching at top flight football. Obviously, the difference between some of them, e.g., the difference between Rene Hacker and Ruud van Nistelrooy, is that Ruud van Nistelrooy has experience of the Premier League as a player, and I think that will come very handy to the task that's kind of at hand. I just want to hear you lot's thoughts. I want to hear everybody's thoughts of everything, really. I mean, I'm happy that Erik ten Hag will essentially get 2 years to, because I always said that if this review that Ineos were completing, if it did come out that they chose to stay with Erik ten Hag, I would have felt like they would have to go on and back him and give him some more years on his contract to really show the fans that they are truly invested in giving him enough time to succeed. Like that was always kind of my idea. Now, giving him 2 years, I think, plus the 2 years already that he had, it's easier to judge a manager on 4 years. That's basically my thoughts. Fancy Football says, why change his staff then build a team around him? That's a good question. Taj says, yeah, I guess they care about making it look a certain way. There's nothing wrong with saying they triggered the extension. After all, that clause was there for a reason in the first place. 100%, I agree. Big Up Pyramid Scheme says, I think the Prem Ruud played in was levels clear of today's Prem in terms of quality, maybe not pace and power. 100%. That era of Premier League football, we cannot replace. But it's also, I think, helpful to have maybe like, because I'm sure Ruud van Nistelrooy, players will be able to learn from him. Strikers in particular will be able to learn from him. He also came from an era of no bullshit when it came to working under Sir Alex Ferguson. The second that he started acting up, Sir Alex Ferguson kicked him to the curb. So hopefully he has those sort of standards, which I think hopefully align with Erik ten Hag's ones. Now, the most important one, by the way, big up to Ridwan, guys. If you remember, we got some new emojis in the chat, guys. We got some new emojis in the chat. Why is Fletcher still part of 10-7 Hag? Why is Fletcher still part of 10 Hag's team? Well, I think it's for multiple reasons. I think it's important to have people, and you lot might not agree with me on this, but I think it's important to have people within the coaching staff or just the first team staff in general that understand the DNA of the club. I know you lot might say DNA hype. You lot might think, oh, DNA hype, but I think it's important to have 1 or 2 people that understand that. I mean, Steve McLaren was brought in as Erik ten Hag's as part of his coaching staff because of his experience of English football and his experience of the Premier League. I think it's equally important to have someone within that circle. It doesn't matter how influential you are, how powerful you are. You don't have to be, the second in charge and all of that stuff. But what I will say is that it's important to have someone like Fletcher. It's important for me to have someone like Fletcher, whether it's Fletcher or not, by the way. It's important to have that and allow the coaching staff to be able to be exposed to someone who understands the ins and outs of the club. I know that it will probably change, but the DNA of the club will stay the same, no matter if it's Ineos that owns it or whoever it is that owns it. I think that would definitely be the case. But let me know your thoughts, guys. Just all in all, surrounding all of this, what do you make of it? I think this was, like I said, a long time coming. This was, overdue for how long? I think it was announced nearly 3 weeks ago. So it was nice to finally have an official announcement from the club, whether or not that is worded in the way that it should be. We're not going to clutch at straws here. I don't think we're going to clutch at straws here. But I don't know, man. I think because I've seen some differentiating views, and again, I feel like by the way, I just feel like the fans will never be happy. Like fans, no matter what happens, there's always going to be people that are annoyed with the news, and then there's always going to be people that are, jolly with the news. I don't think this for me just gives a bit of clarity. It gives clarity for the next 2 seasons, and anyone that kind of wants United to do bad for the next 2 seasons, so that his managerial run comes to an end sooner rather than later. I think that's ridiculous. I low-key think that's ridiculous. But I do think it does give a bit of clarity, and that's all everybody needs. When it was coming to the process surrounding the club being bought, everybody just wanted clarity. Everyone wanted to know what was happening. Everyone just wanted clarity. When it was approaching the end of the season and there was talk about Erik ten Hag possibly leaving, the fact that he was leaving regardless of whether United won the FA Cup or not, people just wanted clarity. That's it. And now there is clarity. For the next 2 years, everyone knows who the coach is. Everyone knows who the coach is. Everyone knows who the coach or the manager in particular. Everyone knows who his staff is. Everyone knows who he reports into. We know in a very clear and obvious way who does what at the club. There's no more blurred lines. Is it Murto? Is it Arnold? Who is it that's dealing with what and what and what? You know, there is clarity. And I think that's what United have needed for a flipping long time. Excuse my language. Fans have been overreacting to the structure changes. At the end of the day, we will only know if these are good moves based on performances, results on the pitch. That's true. There is no guarantee, guys, that the results will change on the pitch. However, I think you have a better chance of having better results on the pitch if you have the right people making the right decisions, because it's a trickling effect, essentially. What the decisions that the CEO, the CEO, the recruitment, head of recruitment, the director of football, the technical director, all of that stuff, the decisions they make trickle into the first team. They will trickle into the first team, and hopefully we'll be able to see that. Big up Lale says Minar Fletcher offers nothing, just there for the vibes. It's better if he leaves the club. Maybe I disagree, to be honest. Maybe I disagree on that. I feel like someone like Fletcher, I'm not going to say he is the truth and all of that stuff, but whether it's him or whether it was someone like Wayne Rooney or Carrick or, someone that has a history with the club for a long time and has a sort of attachment to the club. I mean, Gary Neville is in an advisory role right now, right? He's advising, he's part of the board that is trying to put together this new stadium or this process for the new stadium. It's important to get voices of people that are influential within Manchester United as a club, because they understand a lot more of the sentimental side. They might not get the business side, but they understand the more sentimental side. They understand the standards, that kind of stuff. I know some of you might not agree with me, and like I said, it's completely reasonable to not agree with me on that. But I just think having one person in the coaching staff that fully understands what it is to be Manchester United is important. Rooney became the Plymouth manager. I know. I saw his press conference today. He's so funny. He's actually so funny. Somebody asked him in the press conference, how did he pitch it to his wife to go to Plymouth? And he said that he told his wife that Plymouth is the Monaco of England. Guys, if you're not from the UK, Plymouth is south, like the bottom of England. It's near the coast and it's near nothing, basically. It's like bottom far left of the map in England. And he told his wife it's the Monaco of England. Trust me, Plymouth is not the Monaco of England. But I will keep an eye. I think they're in the League One, I think. Big up to Ridwan says absolutely, but it's also something that's new. We ain't had so many structural changes happen at once for decades. I mean, when was the last time that we had this many changes, like Ridwan mentions, just from a structural perspective? And I've seen people speak about the fact that we're in a day and age now where football discussions and debates and all of that stuff surrounding the world of football is more than just what's on the pitch. I don't know if you guys are like, if you guys experience this, but growing up in especially like the 2000s, when you talked about football, we just talked about what happened on the pitch for 90 minutes. Now, when you talk about football, people talk about so many different contributing factors to a situation at a club. So, for example, if Manchester United crashed out in 2005, Man United, I think, crashed out in the group stages of the Champions League. I think that was the worst finish until recently. We would have, at that time, we would have just said bad performances, But now, when you talk about situations like that, there's so many different contributing factors that people will bring up outside of the bad performances that people would kind of suggest that contributes to why you're playing bad. And sometimes things like the structural situation at the club is mentioned. I remember, after the Brentford loss, Erik ten Hag's second game of the season, I don't know if you lot remember, but I remember Gary Neville went in on Sky, live on Sky, talking about the Glazers. I never seen him speak about the Glazers in such. nobody spoke about the fact that United had just spent 200 million in the window. No one spoke about, the Anthony. At that point, actually, we didn't actually sign Anthony. But nobody spoke about how slow Man United were moving in the transfer window. He just went on about the Glazers. And obviously, that is a big part of why United have been the way that they have been over the last near enough to 20 years. But 20 years ago, you would just talk about football. You would honestly just talk about the football side. And that's not just applicable to Man United, guys. This is applicable to every club. Now, you talk about Chelsea, for example. People talk about the ownership, the structure, the buying young prodigies in the hopes that their valuation goes up, their transfer scheme, all of that stuff. People talk about all of that, not the football stuff. So with United, I kind of understand why everyone wants to talk about how big the structure change is, because it's something that hasn't been there for quite some time. And as a result, as a domino effect, United have kind of felt why, we kind of have felt the trickling effect or the domino effect of not having the right structure in place. Now, my only concern, and that's why I got Sir Jim Ratcliffe here up on the screen, my only concern is that I do feel like United might be trying to go down this multi-club route. I definitely feel like that's the route that Manchester United could be aiming to go down. And that's why Sir Jim Ratcliffe and Ineos have put some people in place because of their experience. For example, Umar Barada, he's got experience of building up the City Group, working in the City Group structure. Christopher Vivel got experience as working in the Red Bull setup, in the multi-club setup. Notably his work, and when I'm speaking about Christopher Vivel, guys, I'm speaking about, let me bring him up on screen because it's easier. This guy right here, Manchester United's new global head of talent. I think that's his name. His director of global talent, i.e., director of recruitment, basically across the globally. Says it in the name. He's got experience of working in a multi-group, and like I said, most notably, his work is kind of, his best work came when he was in the Red Bull group and the Red Bull setup. What was he doing? Buying young players, kind of developing them at Salzburg, selling them to Leipzig. Then eventually he moved over to Leipzig and then did the same thing. The players that he sold to Leipzig, developed them and then moved them on to bigger clubs in Europe. He's got experience of working in multi-group setups. And I think that's why people like him and Umar Barada have come in place, because I think that's Ineos' long-term goal. Their long-term goal is to allow Manchester United to be the big name in Europe, and the other clubs that they own be the feeder clubs. Talking about clubs that Ineos own, Nice have just signed Dembele, or not Dembele, Ndombele. They're signing Ndombele from Spurs. Mafita says, have you talked about the new goalkeeper coach? Nope, but we're going to come to that as well. We're going to come to that. Don't worry. So let's just quickly reflect on Erik ten Hag's time at Manchester United. And the reason why I'm saying let's talk about Erik ten Hag's time at Manchester United, because I want to know his transfers here, and these are just permanent signings only. These are permanent signings only. Now with the right people in place. If we were to look at these 10 signings that was made under Erik ten Hag over the last 2 years, do you think any of these would have genuinely been brought now? Like, honestly speaking, if 2 years ago Manchester United had the placement, the things in place, such as the director of football, the recruitment strategy, the CEO, etc., etc., etc. Big up to TI10 says, Assalamu alaikum wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Big up. Be sure to hit the like button, guys, and be sure to subscribe. But if looking at these 10 signings, I genuinely think maybe Martinez would have been the only signing that would have actually happened. And even then, for the price that it is, I don't think it would be at that price, if I'm being honest. I think Malacia was a low risk, low reward kind of signing. I think he's just been unfortunate with his injuries. I look down and think Mason Mount, 60 million? Absolutely not. Absolutely not for 60 million. Sir Jim Ratcliffe has already spoke about the Casemiro signing and already said that that's a signing that he never understood and that would never have happened. Anthony, 86 million. I don't even have to talk too much. I don't have to talk too much. Johnny Evans for free. I guess that's each to their own, because it could have still happened. It might not have happened, depending on if Erik ten Hag had asked for like an experienced, seasoned professional that can kind of lead the dressing room. Bayinda for 4.3 million. to then sell your academy goalkeeper to Bayer Leverkusen. That's a transfer that I never understood, especially when you only played him once or twice. He barely played. Barely played. Rasmus Højlund for 72 million. I personally think, guys, and this is I guess this is just an assumption on my end, but I think had Ineos been in place last summer, I think Man United would have brought Harry Kane. And the reason why I think that, I think it would have been a statement signing for Sir Jim Ratcliffe, who's very much about let's get the best British talents if we can at Manchester United. Let's make Man United the best team in Europe. Let's make them the best English team again. I think he would have brought Harry Kane. Generally, I think that, even though it does seem like Manchester United's transfer strategy this season is a bit different in terms of the monetary side of stuff, it does seem like they've got budgets within their means and they're trying to stick to that. I genuinely think United would have passed up on Højlund, passed up on Mount, and said, let's get Harry Kane, because that would have been the statement signing for Sir Jim Ratcliffe, the best English player of this time, one of the best English strikers or goal scorers as well. To have him at Manchester United, that would have meant a lot to him. So I think a few of these guys would not have made the cut. But when this is labelled as Erik ten Hag signing, I feel like sometimes it is a bit harsh. I feel like it is a bit harsh. 200 million for Cass, Anthony, Mount and Højlund hurts my head. And you know what the funny thing is? The funny thing is 3 years from now, or 2 years from now, in my opinion, I don't see any of those four actually being like the superstar on the team. Am I the only one that thinks that? I think Casemiro definitely gone. Casemiro will definitely be gone. I think Anthony, Mount, I don't think they'll be that successful. I don't think that they will be that successful at Manchester United. Mount, I'm just holding on to that 1% hope that I have that he might be successful. Rasmus Højlund, if United are already in a market for a new striker to take the weight load off of him, that means that they aren't really kind of counting on him to be that guy. They're not really counting on it. Big up to Saeed, says a contract that isn't really a contract. Now, we just spoke about it earlier, but yeah, it's not a contract renewal. He's just gotten the time that he's obligated to get, essentially. It will be telling though next season if they come out and give him a new contract, because what happens next year, and by the way, guys, if you're wondering what we're talking about, we're talking about Erik ten Hag. What happens next season when you're going into the new season and your manager has 1 year left? Your manager has 1 year left on his contract, and then we're back at square one all over again. Let's be honest, we're back at, and that's why I said it's a lot more. It kind of alludes to a lot more confidence in Erik ten Hag if Ineos gave him an extra couple years on a contract, because that would show they're fully invested with him. Whereas next summer, Man United might find themselves again, guys, at the same merry-go-round of, is he staying? Is he going? He's got 1 more year left, halfway through his last season. Is he staying? Is he going? Blah, blah, blah. Did you see me and KG clash? Yeah, I watched it back, man. If you haven't watched it, go watch it, in it, because KG pulled up on Saeed's stream on a hype. He pulled up on a hype. It was a good debate. You should make it an actual stream. Like, you should actually make it a stream. Him, Marcel, you, and I don't know, someone else. Musa. I think Musa would be a good candidate for that. The two of you versus the Marcel and KG. But then Marcel and KG sometimes doesn't agree with what Marcel says. But it would be good. I see people saying get him on Mandem Talk. Mandem Talk is already a lot of people. That's like 10 people. You're about to have a starting 11 on Mandem Talk if you get KG on there. But big up to Saeed, man. Make sure you lot go check it out. Go check it out on Saeed's channel, where him and KG kind of clashed over some strong opinions. But enough about Erik ten Hag. Let's talk about this guy right here being pushed out of Bayern Munich. And it's so funny, because why am I seeing Bayern Munich fans upheaval? They are angry about the possible prospect of selling De Ligt. Now, I don't want to get too ahead. I don't want to get too ahead and be like, oh, they're doing this because they love him so much, because they might be baiting United fans. They might be genuinely baiting United fans. However, it is reported. Just give me the light. I've been singing that for the last 2 weeks. I've been actually singing that for the last 2 weeks on stream. about this, but it's reported that he has turned down through his agent. He turned down Liverpool and PSG. It's not bait. They literally signed a petition. I don't know, man. I'm still like sus of it. I can't lie. I'm still a bit sus of that, because I feel like we've been hoodwinked a lot of times. I remember Real Madrid fans were so upset when Casemiro left. Like some Real Madrid fans, they were so upset when Casemiro left. I'm not trying to be hoodwinked, bamboozled, all of that kind of stuff. Oh, it's bait to get us away from Elise. Big up to Raja in the chat. Big up. Big up to Court says, big up whoever gifted me a membership. It was probably Nuruddin, the king of the channel, the gift that keeps on giving here on the channel. But Eric Dyer had reported. Eric Dyer? Did I just call him Eric Dyer? That's how you know I'm bugging. But it's reported that the Ligt did turn down Liverpool and PSG. Now, I don't know per se the ins and outs of that rejection. We don't know whether it's literally, maybe they just approached him, Eric, who, I don't know why Eric Dyer just came to my head. Did I say Dyer or Dyer? I don't even know what I'm saying at this point. Oh, before we get to Dyer, let's before we get to the lit, sorry guys, I don't know what's going on. I don't know what is going on, man. I've had a long day. Before we get to the lit, let's just talk about big bro right here. Yeah, let's just talk about bro right here. I don't know what's going on, guys. Why the fuck do I keep talking about Eric Dyer? I don't know. Let's talk about here. Just recent news, by the way, in the last hour or so. Manchester United are hiring a new goalkeeper called, now I don't know how on earth to pronounce his name. If Jelle, the J must be silent if it's Dutch, yeah? He does seem like he is Dutch, by the way. LA ten Ruwila. That's his name. I don't want to say Jelle, because I know for a fact Jelle is not his name, yeah? So I'm going to say it's LA? Ellie? I'm just going to call him 10 Ruwila. Man, like 10 Ruwila. It's actually a tongue twister as well. Now, this is the interesting thing, because Manchester United are set to appoint him as the new goalkeeper coach. We're just going to call him 10 goalkeeper. There you go. We're just going to call him 10 goalkeeper. Yella. Oh, is it Yelly? Anyways, Manchester United are set to appoint him as the new goalkeeper coach. Now, he actually agreed to join Ajax 2 months ago. But Manchester United are working on a compensation package with the Dutch club and is expected to be agreed. So he's actually agreed to join. Hold on. I need to make sense of this story completely, because he was meant to join Ajax and United have just nabbed him from Ajax. Now, I'm going to show you lot the name, because I don't want you lot to say Mina keeps pronouncing it wrong. Here's his name. So Manchester United are set to hire. Oh, Ornstein posted. What did Ornstein post now? I hate when Ornstein posts whilst I'm live. Brother, you're baiting me. Wallah, you just baited me. Ridwan, I normally trust you, you know. I normally trust you, Ridwan. But I just went on Ornstein's page. Nothing is there. I just refreshed my Twitter. Nothing's there. So Ridwan, that's you just baited us. You just baited us live on stream. Go on, European lad. That's where I saw him going in on Eric Ten Hag. Maybe he posted on WhatsApp. Yeah, Ridwan, add us to the group chat, Ridwan. Clearly Ridwan is in a group chat with what's it called? Ridwan is in a group chat with what's it called? Okay, so let's get an understanding of this. I want to get an understanding of this, guys. Manchester United are hiring a new goalkeeper coach, LA10 Ruwila, who spent last season in the Premier League at Burnley. He selected him to work with, obviously, his goalkeeping staff. He reportedly agreed to join Ajax 2 months ago, following the departure of Vincent Kompany to Bayern Munich. But United are now working on a compensation package with the Dutch club, and a deal is to be expected. Manchester United's current goalkeeper coach, Richard Hartis, will leave the club with his contract expiring. Hartis spent 10 years at United in his first spell, overseeing academy goalkeeping, and then stepped into the first team duties at the end of 07-08, coaching Edwin van der Sar when the club won the Premier League and the Champions League. Ten Ruwela, 43 years old, is regarded as a modern goalkeeper coach, having implemented sessions to aid the system desired by Kompany by passing out from the back. It's very interesting to see that Manchester United are going now and appointing a whole Dutch. Is this a whole Dutch team? Are we going to have a whole Dutch coaching staff? The goalkeeper coach, the second in charge, the third in charge, the manager. And now I'm going to be honest, guys. I do not care about nationality. I don't care. I don't care about the nationality of coaches. What I care about when it comes to Manchester United is that these coaches fit into the idea that United are trying to do. And I know some people, by the way, are probably annoyed. I've seen people annoyed about, the fact that Man United are appointing Dutch people. They're appointing a lot of Dutch people, or going for a lot of Dutch players, or going for a lot of people signed to SEG, that kind of stuff. For me, if the ideology of the coach and what he specializes in matches and fits up to the criteria that Man United are trying to build, then I don't think that's a bad thing. Now, what it does seem to me is that Manchester United are trying to get all the chess pieces in place before they go and finalize all the deals for the players. Now, maybe this means that there's a long-term future for Onana at Manchester United. If they're bringing in a goalkeeper coach that specializes in playing out from the back, modernizing the football, etc., if that is what they're trying to do, then maybe Onana has a future at the club. Big up to everyone. Be sure to hit the like button, guys. Be sure to subscribe. Listen, let's try get 100 likes, hopefully before the end of the stream. We actually got over 100 people here as well, guys. Do you know how proud I am? Let me just go on a little off-topic rant for a second, yeah. But do you know how proud I am? There was a time not long ago. I started my channel exactly 1 year ago. Some of you guys have joined on the ride recently. Some of you guys have been here throughout the entire time. Some of you guys have joined at some point during the season. But I started my channel exactly 1 year ago. I think it was like the first week of July. I started my channel. And I always used to say, if I get 10, 20 people watching, I used to be like, I'm happy with that. And lately, especially over the last couple of weeks, I consistently get 100 plus. And to you guys, that might not be a lot. To some other people that have thousands and thousands of subscribers, that might not be a lot. But to me, that is a lot, because that means right now 109 people value what I have to say and value the community that we're trying to build here. It's a safe space. It's a nice space. You know what the motto is? Strictly good vibes. Everybody's opinions are here. Welcome. We challenge the opinion. We don't challenge the person. We don't get personal. We don't do any of that. We create a safe space for everyone to vibe and all of that kind of stuff. So big up to everyone for that, for allowing me to build that community as well, because I wouldn't be able to do it without you lot. You know, them times where I just randomly disappear and I don't stream for a couple of days, or I don't stream for a couple of weeks and I just leave the country and all of that. You lot still here when I come back, and that is very much appreciated. So let's get it to 100 likes. We are on the road to 5k as well. I've been here since before I had more subs than Minna. The girl is pushing. Yeah, we're grinding. We're working hard. And I gotta be consistent, guys. I promised you lot last month, I think, or the month before, when summer comes, I'm gonna be consistent. And I've been trying my best to stream every single day, even when I ain't got nothing to talk about. And just as I said that, Shane just joined the Minions gang. Big up to Shane Malone. Welcome to the community. If you've got membership, guys, make sure you use the emojis, because we got so many more emojis. I've created so many more emojis for everyone. We got a members only live stream, guys. Do not miss that out. We got a member only live stream tomorrow, 4 p.m. UK time, where we are doing Minion Scout. We are scouting the Ligt, and we're going to sit here and analyze. We are going to sit here and analyze all of that kind of stuff. But big up to everyone. Like I said, be sure to hit the like button and be sure to subscribe. I've been here before 1,000 subs. You've been true to this. Let's go, Minna. Road to 5K. Come on, road to 5K, man. You guys know what it is. Big up to Lil Yo-Yo. Been a member for 6 months. Says past that. Not Lil Yo-Yo making the Missy Elliott reference. Not the Missy Elliott reference. Nah, come on. All right, let's get back into it. Let's get back to it. Big up to Lil Yo-Yo, by the way. If you want to join the membership club, guys, you can. It's the pinned comment in the chat. You get your badges, you get your emojis, you also get your custom member content, and of course, you get to join the stream tomorrow. Where before I think it's Germany versus Spain. That's first. So before that game, an hour before, we're gonna do like a 30-40 minute video breaking down some Ligt film and kind of getting into the nitty-gritty details. Where is this guy gonna play for Manchester United? But back to quickly Ligt. It's reported, like I said, that he had turned down Liverpool and PSG. That's just reported. But one thing we do know is that Matthijs de Ligt is willing to take a significant pay cut to join Manchester United. He's willing to. He currently earns 15 million euros a year. Damn, guys, I can't believe footballers actually earn that. Currently earns 15 million euros a year, and he's willing to keep it to 12 or lower, 12 million. So he's willing to take a significant pay cut. Now, I think he's desperate to join Manchester United. David Ornstein did say in the recent on The Athletic, they do every week, they do this like transfers to watch kind of thing. So he said that this was a transfer to kind of keep eyes on. And also he said the Jared Brantford one is not over yet. That is also another one to keep an eye on. You know, even though United are kind of bringing in a few Dutch people, they're bringing in Dutch coaching staff, they're bringing in Dutch players, they need to get rid of this Dutch guy. They need to get rid of this Dutch guy. Donny van der Beek, a player that they do not see a future at the club. He is actually a player that I think his career was quite harshly done. I think it's the reason why I say I think his career was harshly done was because I genuinely think that he was never a manager signing. I don't, you are saying no, free Donny. Super Scud is saying no, free Donny. I just think he's just one of them signings that should just never have happened. 2020 was a very unusual time for Manchester United because they just brought in a random bunch of players. They brought in a random bunch of players. That's also the year, by the way, they spent 10 million on Hannibal. They spent 10 million on Hannibal as an academy player, which I didn't really like. I didn't really agree on. If you remember yesterday on stream, we kind of broke down all the failures of Manchester United's past recruitment team. Super Scud says, okay, hear me out. Donny instead of Bruno. Luckily for Super Scud, I think we got time today to kind of digest this and debate this before we get on to all the other potential outgoings and incomings. Let me know, guys. Do any of you lot agree with Super Scud? I just feel like in the time that let's break down Donny van der Beek's appearances at Manchester United, because I was gonna say I don't think I've seen enough like consistently from him, but then again we could also turn around and say, did he truly ever get the chances to really play consistently for Manchester United? We could kind of debate that. But I'm sorry, guys, not to be disrespectful, but he is not half the player that Bruno Fernandes is. You can cut off Bruno Fernandes's left leg and Donny van der Beek still could. Donny van der Beek, I actually think, and might be a contradiction, like this might be a controversial opinion, but I think out of that entire Ajax team, that team that did so well for Ajax, I think the fact that he was one of the last ones to be sold was quite telling that there wasn't really a big market for him. Because when it came to it, Ziyech got sold, De Ligt got sold, De Jong got sold. Donny is a more technical player. I mean, I could say he is a technical. He is a very. The thing is, anyone that I feel like that comes through Ajax's academy system is a technical player. That's like, I feel like to get through certain academies and to like go from academy to their first team, you have to be a very good technical player. And Ajax is known to have like something is in the water in the Netherlands because they produce such good players when it comes to technical ability. And I actually saw a video about this, kind of talking about why the English football systems do not create technical players as often as the Spanish systems or the Dutch systems, etc. And they were saying that there's a big gap or a big difference between the English academy systems and the Spanish and the Dutch in particular, because, you know, apparently in English systems, you know, they kind of coach the technical ability out of you, whereas in Spain, in the Netherlands, they, you know, your technical ability is a big part of you being in the academy in the first place. So it's good. If I can find the video, I'll definitely kind of link it down below. But it was a very interesting video for me personally to see that. Now, I want to see stats by club, and I want to see truly the time that he's had at Manchester United. I truly want to see the time he's had at Manchester United, because we could put it into perspective. Let's put it into perspective. Let's put it. I don't know why prescription was in my head, because I had to go to the chemist today and I forgot. Let's put it into perspective, guys. English ain't my first language, innit? At Manchester United, Donny van de Beek played a total of 2,157 minutes. Just to put this into perspective, he played more minutes in the under-21 Ajax team and the under-19 Ajax team, despite playing half of those number of games. Yeah. So I want to make it as obvious to you guys as possible. Sometimes I don't want to just like explain it. I want to show you lot in visual format. At a club level, this is a club breakdown. Grammar inspection. I know I would fail immediately, man. I would fail straight away. Let's put it. This is the breakdown, club by club. He's played 62 games, Manchester United, all competitions. All competitions. He played for the Ajax under-21 team 35 games, and then 30 games for the under-19 teams. Despite that, he played more minutes in both of them. In both of them. And that just shows that sometimes, we can argue this, I think, that he never really got that consistent chance. But also, I think Donny van de Beek was just that player that every manager came in and was like, why is this guy at the club? Like, what was the purpose to buy him? What was the purpose of, for example, Scott McTominay, I think, had a purpose of coming through the first team, from the academy to the first team. I think he had a purpose. And every manager was able to see that purpose. You need height, put him on. You might need a bit of strength, even bare minimum. You need a bit of strength, slap him on the pitch. You need someone to kind of contest for duels, put him on. Erik ten Hag has found a way to utilize Scott McTominay. You need that second striker kind of running in, put him on. But Donny van de Beek was always probably one of them players that, by the way, how many players were playing in his ideal position that he wanted to play in? How many people were there? At one point, I remember we used to have Pereira playing in the 10. That was obviously before Bruno came in. Then Bruno came like a year later or 2 years later. Yeah, about a year or so later he came, or 6 months later, I think it was that Bruno came. And that was his role gone. He couldn't impress at Everton, barely could impress at Frankfurt. So he's just one of them players for me that is just good signing, but very, very unfortunate. Very, very unfortunate. And sometimes I'm sure if he could go back, he would probably have decided not to join Manchester United. I think he would have decided not to join Manchester United. I think it's very unfortunate for him. Can Nice loan Donny? I think they could. I think they could be able to. I don't think there's any kind of restriction. Well, if we can't buy Todibo, then I don't know if they could actually buy him or get him on loan. I don't know. The thing is Manchester United are reportedly looking to recoup some of his transfer value through selling him. Realistically, guys, how much do you think United is going to get for him? If we just trying to predict an amount, I would say 10 million at best. At best. But then again, guys, and this is just me being devil's advocate, I'm seeing other players that haven't played any time going for 20, 30 million. They sold Trafford. Was it City that sold their goalkeeper, academy goalkeeper, for nearly 20-something million? And that's the thing with football players that just rot on your bench. They depreciate. You have more of an asset in a player that hasn't played in the first team because you're selling their potential than a player that has just sat there on your bench rotting away for the last 4 months. And that's the annoying thing about a lot of players at Manchester United, that their valuation, they lose their valuation because United have just let them kind of vanish in the team. And Donny van der Beek, for me, will always be one of those players, that one of those what if players. What if United never signed him? How good would his career had turned out to be? And also, can I just say, even his loan spells haven't helped him, because look at a player like Amad Diallo, who took a step down. He took a step down from like top flight football and went to Sunderland and went to the Championship, and he had a great loan spell there. He took a risk and it paid off. Donny van der Beek went to Everton when they were fighting relegation. And the thing is, at Everton, if you're not in the manager's plans, you're not in the manager's plans. Went to Frankfurt. Bro, I didn't even waste my time. No disrespect, but I didn't waste my time kind of keeping an eye on Frankfurt and Donny van der Beek, because I just knew he wouldn't play. City have good PR when it comes to their players, while United have negative PR, unfortunately, due to negligence. That's true. You would think that with the new board, they can get more value for players that don't play as much now, all on Ineos now. I don't know about Ineos. I don't know about that, to be honest, because I think them kind of situations, it's like the previous regime wrote the script. When they allowed players like Donny van der Beek to kind of waste away on the bench, they kind of wrote the script for them. Whereas in the future, of course, I think Ineos are, I personally think, responsible for the signings that they bring in. If they bring in a signing, then they are responsible for either making that signing work or selling that signing and recouping some of that money. Minna, Ten Hag also fell out with Donny. I don't know. Is that true? Is that true? Did he actually fall out with Donny van der Beek? I thought that was his dog. I thought that was his dog. Let me see how much you are saying to sell him for. 10 to 15, 5 mil if we are lucky, 5 to 10 mil. Nadir says 5 million and a bag of peanuts. That's a bit harsh. That's not the bag of peanuts. Minna, have you voted? Yes, that's why I was late for my stream, because I had to go to the polling station and vote. I won't say who I voted for, but if you have the right to vote, guys, exercise your right to vote, because it's a good right to have. But who else is on the transfer news? This guy right here is also on the transfer news today with some new information that has actually come to light. Reportedly, Damasio reported that Marseille have offered more than Lazio for Mason Greenwood in the last couple of hours. So they've reportedly made a bid just over 20 million. At this point, United just accept a bid. Now, I think the most important thing, would you guys, and this is a question to the audience, would you prefer to sell Mason Greenwood for a big fee, like 30 million, 40 million, with no add-on clause, or no sell-on clause, sorry, or would you rather sell him for 20 to 25 million with a significant sell-on clause, 30 million, 40 million? For example, I think it's Bologna that have a sell-on clause for, I think it's Calafiori. No, it's another team. FC Basel have a sell-on clause for Calafiori. I think it's like 40 million. So Bologna are trying to sell him for a big fee because 40 million will go to them. Would you prefer United to do something like that, or do you want United to just get the cash immediately, get the money immediately for that transfer? 40 million, 35 million, 30 million, whatever it is, however much it is that they're kind of selling him for. Because for me, I think the sell-on clause is equally as important as the transfer fee. Minna, who did you vote for? I don't want to. I feel like, because of having a bunch of people that watch me, I don't want to disclose who I voted for. But guys, just look at me. Look how I look, yeah, and just guess who I voted for. It should be very obvious. It should be very, very obvious. 40% sell-on clause for Basel is wild. Yeah, it is a bit wild. Is it 50%? I thought it was 40%. Mike says sell Greenwood for 40 million plus a sell-on fee. The thing is, I don't think you're getting the best of both worlds, by the way. I don't think you're getting a nice transfer fee and a sell-on clause. I think it's one or the other. And if you do kind of sell for 30 to 40 million, the sell-on clause will be a lot lower. It might be like 5%, 10%. Whereas if you sell for 20, 25 million, the sell-on clause might be a bit more. It could be up to 40, 30%. If United are obviously able to negotiate that, which I don't know why they shouldn't be. I don't know why United should not be able to negotiate a reasonable sell-on fee with a reasonable what's it called, transfer fee as well. Personally, I don't know why. I don't know why. We need the cash now, though. I think that's the most important thing. United, but also United need the cash in the future. I think they need the cash in the future. Now, again, it is a risk, I think, to take a lower fee for a higher sell-on clause, because there's no guarantee Mason Greenwood will go for like 70 million, 80 million, 90. There's no guarantee. Sometimes I think in football, there's no guarantee that big players will go for big prices in the future. Like, for example, look at Alvaro Fernandez. Look at Alvaro Fernandez, for example. You know, I had high hopes for him, and he's another. I probably think what if more so about Alvaro Fernandez than I do about Donny van de Beek. Honestly, because I watched him so much at Preston North End when he was on loan. I genuinely thought summer he's going to come back to Manchester United and he's going to get the chance that he deserves, like Amad Diallo, etc. Kobe Mainoo is going to come through. All of these guys, academy kids, United, we're going to be Carrington FC. I genuinely thought Alvaro Fernandez, out of all the players coming through the academy alongside Garnacho, Amad, I thought he was the third one, especially after his loan spell. But it's so unfortunate to see that he went out on another loan spell and then United just chose to sell him instead. And I think he probably didn't get a fair chance in the first team. But when that side, you know, you got Luke Shaw, you got Malacia, you're bringing in Reguilon as well. And on top of that, you got Diogo Dalot who could play there as well. I think, you know, he made the right decision for his career to leave. Like, I can never fault him for that. But it's always one of them things where it's just like, what is United doing? How is the club being run? Let's not forget what happened with Zaha when we sold him back to Palace. They never sold him and he ran his deal down. So there is that risk too as well. Exactly, that's true. There is that risk of, you know, not necessarily getting a player, is selling on a player and then getting a percentage of that clause. It's about risks. I guess football is just about risks in general. And it's just a matter of whether United are willing to take that risk. Now, I don't know how you guys feel, but I just feel with the Jadon Sancho thing, and I feel like with Mason Greenwood, I feel like it's moving slow. Guys, I don't know, man. I don't know about you lot. I understand you have to do your due diligence when you're buying a player, but selling players, why is it so difficult? It's so difficult for Manchester United to sell players. And I would have thought after Mason Greenwood's season last year that United would have easily been able to get the value that they want for him. Are they trying to hold out for too much? What is it that is making United move so slow to offload players? Because we've been kind of fed the idea that in order to buy, United have to sell. And that's why I think a lot of people are waiting for, you know, Greenwood to be sold, Sancho to be sold, because, you know, the ball starts kind of rolling. Now, if I was to say with Man United's recruitment or Man United's transfer strategy, the only thing that I hope really changes is we stop letting people leave on frees. Like, we stop letting people... If there is no future for a player, or you do not plan to keep a player on, sell them before they get the chance to run their contract down. Sell them. Because next summer, let's look at Man United's free agency list next summer. What is next summer? 2025. Oh my God, I can't believe that. Contracts expiring in 2025 for Manchester United. There's quite a few, by the way. Damn. There's actually quite a few, you know. All these guys here should be on the chopping block if there's no future for them. If there is no future for them, these guys here either have their options extended or sell them this summer. Scott McTominay, Mason Greenwood, probably the only one that's being sold because they're not going to give him a new contract. Aaron Wan-Bissaka doesn't have an option either. Harry Maguire has an option. Amad Diallo has an option. Victor Lindelof, he's just had his option triggered now, so this is actually his option year. Hannibal as well. I I forgot Hannibal's still in the team. Ericsson, Palestri, Donny van der Beek, Camboala, Tom Heaton. This list is mad. When you look at this list, wallahi, combined, they're not even worth 100 million. Astaghfirullah, let me not say wallahi. How much they worth combined? Roughly, we could get more than 100 million, but I'm just looking at their market valuation. Now, you look at this list and you think about the players that are linked to moves right now. Right now, Mason Greenwood is linked to a move. Scott McTominay is really 50-50 about who wants him. Harry Maguire, it depends. Victor Lindelof, it depends. Wan-Bissaka, it depends. It depends. Hannibal, there's not much information about the market for him. Christian Eriksen, I think they're going to let him leave on a free just because he's approaching probably the end of his career. Facundo Palestri, I've seen talks about him potentially leaving, but nothing really cemented. Donny van der Beek, if they don't sell him now, he's going to run down his contract. Camboala, he might get a new contract, especially because he's a young player through the academy. If he's not pushing to be a starter and he's happy being the 4th, 5th, 6th choice defender, then he might stay. Tom Heaton, I think, had his contract triggered. So, yeah, that's his 1-year option. He's staying for another year. You look at this list and think United have to do business this year. And that's why I say it's important that United have the right people in place, because essentially that will allow them to prepare comfortably for next season. Because if Harry Maguire stays this season, they're going to have to trigger his option because they won't be able to get rid of it. They won't let him leave on a free. Same with Scott McTominay. They'll have to trigger his option as well to let him stay for another year and then be able to sell him. But last, but definitely not least, small little update from Fabrizio Romano. Not really much in substance, but hey, who doesn't like a good Fabrizio update? Joshua Zirkzee, the target for Manchester United. Reportedly, Manchester United are still favourites to sign Zirkzee, as Erik ten Hag reportedly calls him every day. I don't know. What? Erik ten Hag is calling Zirkzee almost every day. This is apparently from Fabrizio Romano. AC Milan are still there and interested, but the only way for them to close the deal is if the player's agent lowers his demands. Now, this can kind of suggest that Man United are the second option for them, for Zirkzee, because I do remember before United went in for him, I remember it was reported that AC Milan was his do or die kind of thing. He really wanted to go to AC Milan, and he's only warmed up to the idea of Manchester United of recent. But United needs to get this deal done. United need to get this deal done. Now, I'm really interested to see, like, what is the plan to have Zirkzee and Rasmus Højlund in the same team. I'm very curious to know what is it going to look like, because the last couple games of the season, Højlund coming off the bench in an FA Cup final, that kind of alluded to me that this new style of football that United will play with Jason Wilcox leading it and Erik ten Hag implementing it, Rasmus Højlund might not be the kind of 100% option up top. He might not be that. And that's very unfortunate when you spent 70 so million on him. Now, Joshua Zirkzee, is he going to be that second choice or that up top choice? Minard Toney is better than Zirkzee. I would take Ivan Toney in a heartbeat. But the thing is with Ivan Toney, guys, is that he Brentford are going to price him out of a move that will either force their hand to sell him for lower come to the end of the transfer window, or accept that he'll leave for free. That's it. That I feel like Brentford will price him out of a move, because 70 million for someone on the last year of their contract, that's not realistic, guys. That's not. Only United were dumb enough to spend 60 million on Mason Mount. They can't do that same mistake again. I would love the idea of Ivan Toney at Manchester United. Honestly, I think Ivan Toney, even in England, I was saying it the other day when I was watching the England game with my family, and I was saying that Ivan Toney, before he came on, I was saying I don't know why they haven't kind of put him up front and put Kane as this second striker option, seeing as Kane likes to drop deep a lot. I would love Ivan Toney, but would you trust Ineos, can I say? Would you trust Ineos if they went and brought Ivan Toney when he's a lot older than what matches their criteria? His wages would be a lot higher than what matches their criteria. Basically, it would go against everything they've kind of set out in stone for this new Manchester United regime. And I think there's one player that you can take that risk on, but I don't know if that's Ivan Toney, that you kind of put your morals away for one player. I think the biggest mistake United made was, spending that much on Rasmus Højlund. Like, I think Rasmus Højlund is a good player, and I think he could work at, he's still young, so I have to give him time to develop into this striker because, it's been a long time. Maybe, when was the last time we've seen a striker just hit the ground running at a young age, 17, 18 years old? It was, oh, sirens outside, like I'm in Owen's studio or something. But when was the last time we saw a striker hit the ground running like that? I would say probably Haaland. And before that, who was that before that? A striker that was on smoke from the age of 18, 19 years old. We have to give Højlund time to develop. But I think the clock is essentially ticking. Now, I'm not going to lie, 15 goals in his first year, in a year that was an absolute struggle for the entire team. I rate it. I rate it. Hopefully, I will be able to judge him properly next season with, being in the team for a bit more. Imagine Højlund working under Ruud van Nistelrooy. I think he will absolutely benefit from it because if there's anyone that needs kind of guidance as a striker in the Man United team right now, it's him. He needs guidance. He needs to know what to do to frustrate the defenders. Because 9 times out of 10, I don't know when you lot see it, but when Højlund is got his back against the defender, he's getting frustrated with the defender, meaning the defender is coming out on top because he's already getting irritated. He's getting annoyed. We need Rasmus Højlund to learn how to irritate defenders, frustrate them, force them into errors. I'm tired of the wrestling fights. But just on Joshua Zirkzee, that is just the small update right there. Rooney R9. Yeah, I feel like the striker time, I'm not gonna lie, I feel like we ain't got strikers. Like growing up, I think I probably saw the best of strikers growing up. I was fortunate enough to grow up in the era. I was fortunate enough to grow up in the eras for Manchester United where we had some of the best strikers. I was very fortunate in that. Particularly, I was fortunate enough to grow up in the era of Ruud van Nistelrooy, to grow up in the era of the Ronaldo, Rooney, Tevez trio. Obviously, before that, we had great strikers just in football in general. We had R9. Like, I grew up with that Brazilian team, that 2002 World Cup winning Brazilian team. I just feel like in my language, I would say gacho, yeah? I just feel like the striker market is gacho in this generation, i.e. starving. Gacha means starving, guys. I feel like the striker market is just starving nowadays. And I just feel like we've lost that. When we talk about football as a whole, yeah, and this is where I just end up going on a whole rant. But when we talk about football as a whole, I feel like the flair of football is gone. The excitement of football is gone. The excitement of a player is gone. It don't exist anymore. And I'm not talking about Manchester United. I'm just talking about football as a whole, as an entity. That exciting football, it's not there no more, man. It's not there no more. I remember there was a time, yeah, I would watch Brazil. Yeah. I'd be excited. Even if they were playing against the team that I'm supporting, I'd be excited to watch Ronaldinho, Kaká, even players like flipping Roberto Carlos. Imagine that, being excited over a left back taking a shot. Now, if my left back takes a shot, I'm absolutely just gonna say, God dig me a grave right now, right here, right now, right here, right now. Facts, man. The transfer market is hungry as well, man. It's hungry. RVN, RVP, Tevez, Rooney, even Berbatov. Berbatov don't get. You're right. Berbatov does not get enough respect, man. He don't get enough respect. This generation doesn't have proper strikers. I'm dying for the day that we have a proper striker. Big up to Mr. K. Says, Minna, I'm telling you, Højlund is mid. Solanke is far better. Loftus-Cheek and Dan Burn will be great signings for. They'll make us better. Thoughts? I'm not going to lie. Loftus-Cheek at AC Milan, he's cooking a little bit. So I'll hear you out on that. Dan Burn, I'm not going to hear you out on that. I just feel like there's better in the market. United shouldn't just look for what would be good for them. Look for what's going to be the best. Like, that's what I want for Manchester United. I just want the best of the best. That's it. That's really just it. But big up to everyone, man. Listen, be sure to hit the like button. Be sure to subscribe. Did we get to 100 likes? Yes, we did get to 100 likes. So big up to all of you guys. Lil Yo says, I can't lie, this is all on Pep. Too much system expression has been significantly reduced. Wayne Rooney said this on BBC the other day during a Euros game where they were talking about how players are struggling at the Euros and they do well for club. And he literally name dropped Pep on TV and said, yeah, it's because people like Pep, like managers like Pep that just create system players, take the flair and the excitement out of a player. So when they come to their national team, they forgot to do what they used to do because they're just so used to a system. And I hear it to an extent. I can't lie. To an extent, I absolutely agree. I just miss exciting football, man. I don't know what it is, man. I just feel like everything's become system, inverted this. I grew up in the era of 4-4-2. 4-4-2, that's it. That's it. No inverted nonsense, no outverted nonsense, no sweeper keeper, none of that stuff. 4-4, no striker dropping deep. None of that stuff. Simple 4-4-2. That's it. That was the man. We cannot replace. But like I said, man, big up to everyone. Be sure to hit the like button and be sure to subscribe. If you are watching this back as well, just slap a like button on your way here, man. Big up to everyone. We'll be back tomorrow, as I mentioned, 4 p.m. UK time. Member only live stream, Minions Scout. We're going to be scouting the Ligt. We're going to be going through some footage. We're going to be breaking it down. We're going to analyze and understand and assess how he's going to fit into Manchester United. Minna, did you vote today? I did. I exercised my right to vote. And I hope everyone else did. Big up to everyone, like I said. And big up to the newest members in the community. Big up to Shane, the newest member in the gang, to the Minions gang. If you want to join the Minions gang, you can. It's the pinned comment in the chat. You get your badges, you get your emojis, you get your custom member content. Like I said, we got a lot of emojis. Let me drop some emojis. This is my favorite one, guys. That's my favorite emoji. We got bare emojis in the chat, man. We got bare emojis in the chat. You can like the channel, like I said, like the stream. We are growing here, road to 5k, man. And I will be back tomorrow for some Manchester United content as well, man. Big up to everyone. I hope you have a wonderful night or afternoon or evening or morning, wherever you're watching from, man. You don't know what it is. It's your girl Minna. I'm out. Peace.